Hey bub, and welcome to the Movie Geek Talks. I'm the Movie Geek, and today I'm talking Logan. I'm on my way to see the 1023. See what they did there? Preview showing of Logan. If you've watched my 2017 Most Anticipated Movies video, you'll know that this was high up on my list. I'm going to lay it out, and despite not loving it, I didn't actually mind X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I enjoyed the Wolverine. So this being advertised as Hugh Jackman's final outing as Wolverine, I am truly looking forward to this. The story seems to be set in a standalone future where Logan and Professor X are in hiding, with the latter's health dwindling. There seems to have been a change that has caused no mutants to have been born in the last 20 years, until Laura, or X-23, turns up and pulls Logan back into the fight. Will we see a passing of the adamantium torch from Logan to X-23? The trailers seem to suggest this. But even if they go all the way and kill off Logan, it's a comic book movie. The future films have the power to revive the dead. But if they do kill off Wolverine and keep him dead for the foreseeable X movies, that will be a first for comic book movies since, well, forever. Well, not counting Quicksilver from Age of Ultron, but he wasn't that good, and I don't really count it. The premise of the film is to end Jackman's run as Wolverine, and it's also been revealed that it will end Patrick Stewart's version of Professor X, with Stewart himself stating there is no better way to go. If this is to be believed, we can all expect at least one of the main characters' deaths, in my opinion. Even the trailer has chosen to use Johnny Cash's version of Hurt, which in itself embodies a finality akin to songs like Frank Sinatra's My Way and The Doors' This Is the End. By doing this, they are ensuring the audience is coming into it and expecting the end. Despite expecting the death of the main character, if not Logan himself, I suspect they will finish with the choice of reviving or bringing the character back, even if this means recasting. In the 17 years that Jackman has been Wolverine, we still haven't had the yellow suit, outside of the deleted scene. It has been rated an R movie in the US and is a 15 in the UK. I'm hoping this is going to take the violence further and give us a brawling Wolverine that has only ever been really hinted at throughout the X-Men franchise, with the most recent being Apocalypse. Looking at the most recent X-23 trailer, it looks as though we're going to get the violence, if not from Logan, but from X-23. I am hopeful this is going to be a good send-off for Jackman and Stewart, but with the X franchise there's always a chance that it will be a complete mess. Okay, so let's go see the movie.
Hey, Bob.
Well, that was something. That was a downbeat movie. Leaving the cinema, I feel as though I enjoyed it, but it has made me feel slightly down. And not due to sadness or emotion for this film. It's more a depressing film. The future, or at least what we saw of the future, was dank and depressing. Seemingly mutant-free, and with what seemed like all hope sucked from the world. Albeit the focus is on Logan, X-23 and Professor X. But there's a family who give them help, and even they have their struggles, with people trying to control them. The world of 2029 is bleak, and seems to mirror how Logan is feeling. As I said earlier, the whole advertising for this film is drenched in finality, with only the slightest bit of plot outlined. By doing this, the producers have ensured that the audience know that this is the end. I enjoyed Logan. I found it to be a good swan song for Hugh Jackman. Jackman's performance is great, with him portraying Logan as weary and tired. He has lived long, and it shows in the makeup and the performance. He is weary and is ready for death. His family are gone, and he is left caring for the nonagenarian Professor X, who suffers from fits and spasms, and coming from a telepath, it affects everyone. A couple of notable moments occur when it becomes apparent that Logan carries an adamantium bullet, and it is suggested that he is keeping this bullet for himself. The movie is set in 2029, set 6 years after Logan's return in Days of Future Past, which was a happy ending. This could conceivably be set within the continuity, and despite suggestions that the Wolverine movies are set outside the main continuity, I like the idea that it follows on from Days of Future Past, as I can understand the world changing for Logan and Charles, so much so that they are living across the Mexican border. Also, if we consider that Days of Future Past reset the original series of films, and follows the new timeline, it could make sense that no new mutants have been born since 2009, and also ties in with Xavier's school still being open in 2023, as there were still mutants who needed to be schooled. There's a line from Charles that mentions the events of the first X-Men film on Liberty Island, and Logan replies, "That happened a long time ago." But did it? Did it happen? We later meet X-23 at the Statue of Liberty Motel. So having Charles mention this implies he doesn't mean the events of X-Men as they or may not have happened. It actually means that that's where he'll find X-23. This is an interesting idea, as the timeline for all the X franchise is a little bit wibbly wobbly. Logan is the only person who remembers both timelines at the end of Days of Future Past, and despite him having spoken about it in the following years, we, as an audience, do not really know what remains canon in the X universe. My theory is that from 1973 to 2023, all lore and canon hasn't been written yet. It gives Fox the freedom to set a number of films in that time without stepping on continuity. But I digress. Watch this space for a separate video on the X-Men franchise timeline. The addition of the X-Men comics also reinforced the idea that this is a continuation, because it is mentioned that some of the stories happened and some were embellished. But it also shows that the X-Men were known about, and that they were in a world where mutants were at least tolerated, and the final scenes of Days of Future Past suggest a happy and tolerated mutant-human coexistence. The reason why Logan and Charles are in hiding is mentioned, which could still be in keeping with Days of Future Past timeline. As mentioned, I enjoyed Logan. I really enjoyed Logan, but there were some aspects that I didn't feel were needed. Richard E. Grant's character was wasted. He didn't really bring much to the film. Well, apart from X-24, and I understand the need of having the guy in charge, but still, the head of the Reavers, Donald Pierce, was more compelling. The film was more of a character piece, focusing on the relationship between the three main characters, Logan, Charles and Laura. It works well as a road movie, with the protagonist being pursued by the relentless antagonist. It also works well as an introduction for X-23, played by Daphne Keane, making her character one of the more interesting aspects of the film. Okay, so from here on in, there will be spoilers, because you can't really talk about Logan without adding spoilers. So turn off or go watch the film and then come back. If you've seen it, carry on watching and enjoy. I mentioned in my pre-review that the whole marketing aspect of Logan had a finality to it, and that by doing this, the audience know what they're going into. They know Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart are leaving the franchise, but how would they be leaving? Would they ride off into the sunset, like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, permanently ending the character at its height, but leaving it open to the possibility of return? Or would the filmmakers play on the 17 years of fan goodwill and end the characters' lives in the most emotional way they could? By the way, I've mentioned spoilers, so this is your last warning. Here are some spoilers. The filmmakers opted to go for the second option. They killed off both characters separately, and both succumbing to the same antagonist. First, we have Charles dying in bed, after he explains that he's had the best night's sleep he's had for a long time. He explains that he remembers why they're on the run, and then he's brutally killed. Logan gets to see him before he dies, but it's too late to save him. Logan dies. He dies at the end of the film. You can't fault the filmmakers on their decision to end the film that way, on the decision to end the film moments after the main protagonist's death. Because in a film named Logan, if Logan dies, you have no film. However, and I'm stating this from my own point of view, that they had built up the ending so much in the marketing that the final impact was lessened. I watched Graham Norton's show on Friday the 24th of February, and both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman hit home that they would be leaving the franchise and that they wouldn't want to do it any other way. There was no doubt that they were going to die. They advertised it and followed through. But maybe because it's a comic book film, or maybe because the marketing, or even because Professor X had already died in Last Stand, that the impact of their deaths wasn't as touching as I'd have liked. 17 years these actors have been playing the characters, and I'd have hoped that it would have been a bit stronger, but it wasn't. The thing is, when I left the cinema, I was down. There is levity in the film, especially when hearing Patrick Stewart swear, but the feel of the film is just dour and depressing. Now, I sound like I didn't enjoy the deaths of the characters. I did. It worked, and maybe it was done this way to show how little effect the mutants have on this world. It worked, and I'm glad they did it. It wouldn't have worked if someone survived. I don't believe that if Logan had survived, it would have been an end, and it was. But as mentioned, it is set in 2029, and the current X franchise is set in the 1980s or the 1990s, so Wolverine does still exist in those time periods. However, we will see if Wolverine comes back at some point, and more to the point, if it's another actor who takes up the claws. I've been the Movie Geek, and this has been the Movie Geek Talks. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube and Facebook channel. Very good. Well done.